Hi folks, the next video focuses mostly on using the marquee tools. We are going to open up the barn photo that I provided for you in JetNet. Go ahead and open up that photo. You click on Command O or Control O and then navigate to the photo, which is looking good so far. I'm just going to add some small changes to it. So we're going to click the rectangle marquee tool in the tools panel right up here. And then we're going to, you can notice how that pointer changes to across. Drag the pointer across the area you wish to select. So you can choose any area you want. I'm going to go ahead and just choose this whole side of this barn. Want to retouch that. And what we want to do next is, when you have completed your selection, release the mouse. The area remains selected, which we did. So to adjust the location of the selection slightly, you can press the areas, the arrow keys, excuse me, if you don't like where you put it, like if it's too high up or too far to the left, you can always adjust where that selection is. Okay. There's so many different things you can do, and one of them is applying a photo filter to that selection. So, for example, you can alter the lightness of the selected area by choosing Window Adjustments. You go to that adjustment layer again. Mine just happens to be open still. And you can go ahead and take a look at the levels. Maybe you want to lighten it up a little, or make it darker. Maybe it's falling in a shadow and you wanted to make it darker. So those are just several things that you can do. You can change the color balance to it as well. If I go back to, this sometimes applies to everything if you don't have it selected any longer after you make that change. So that is our first little exercise. Next, we're going to use the Lasso Tool. The Lasso Tool is a tool that allows us to have a little more freedom with our selections. So since we used our layers and we applied all these things, I'm going to go ahead and flatten this file as is, and then I'm going to make a copy by doing a Command or a Control J. Okay, and now I'm going to turn this one off, so we're just working on this layer. Okay, so we want to go to the Lasso tool, which is at the forefront of these two tools. It looks like a little lasso, pretty literal. The next thing you want to do is select the Polygonal Lasso tool from the menu, which we did. The pointer changes to a polygon. Do that again. Lasso tool. And then up here, you can keep it to add to selection. You can keep the feather to 3 pixels. And as you know, it said to do the polygon one. So we had a different lasso selected. You want to select the Polygon Lasso tool. And that is my washing machine behind us. So I apologize for the noise. The next thing we want to do is we want to, in the options bar, make sure that Add to Selection is selected. Like I said, now we want to click the border of the object that we wish to select. Depending on what you want to select, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select the, excuse me, the barn. And then if you make a mistake, you can just hit the delete. It actually goes where exactly where the arrow is, not where the polygon is. And you'll notice that it is not very conducive to round shapes. There we go. Now we want to form a connected segment with the endpoints, or a closed area, so we got to keep going around until we meet up with where we started. I think we did there. There we go. And so it ends up selecting that object. Okay, so on the options bar, now we want to click on Refine Edge. You can see what happens there. Select a view mode option, which allows us to show exactly how we're going to position this in color. We're going to reveal it on the layer, on black and white, on black overlay, and then there's one called Marching Ants. Dark background will be more useful for defining the edges of the lighthouse illustrated in the example, or our area here. So we could do the dark background. So on black, you can see those edges, or Marching Ants. It refines those edges just a little bit. So reveal layer, overlay, lots of different options for the view mode. I'm just going to go ahead and say on layers. Okay, next, in the edge detection area, select the Smart Radius option. So edge detection, Smart Radius. Adjust the radius slider to change the size of the refinement area and soften the edges of the border region. So go ahead and soften those edges. Click the Refine Radius and Erase Refinements tool button and select the Refine Radius tool. The Refine Radius and Erase we can show radius. You can kind of see what's going on there. Show original, show radius. Okay. Just so you see what's going on. Okay. So here we have Erase Refines tool. And select the Refine Radius tool. We want to make sure that it says Refine Radius. Refine Radius. And you got to click to hold it. It won't just pop open. And the next thing is drag along the edge to refine the edge selection. So you might just drag along the edge to refine it. Give you an idea of what's going on there. So you can observe the results of the edge refinement, just to make it a little more prominent, or soft, or however you're trying to refine your edge. Maybe it's to keep it a little more tight. Okay, in the output area, select the Decontaminate Colors option. and set the output to option to new layer with layer mask. I'm going to click on this, and then we want to do new layer with layer mask. And then click OK. The selection is placed on its own masked layer, so you can see that happening. Click on the square beside the original layer. The background layer to activate the eyeball icon and make the layer visible, which is what we did. And now if the image layer is in the background layer, double click the image layer in the layers panel to convert it from a background layer to a regular layer. We want to have that a regular layer. Click OK in the new layer dialog box, which we did, said OK, and then click the background layer itself to select it, which we have. Choose select all. Press delete to remove the original background. With the background layer still selected, click the paint bucket tool. So if you don't see the paint bucket tool, you want to go down to where it shows a dot, 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 and then you will go down to the paint bucket tool if some of your tools are hiding. Okay, so we got the paint bucket tool, and the next thing we want to do is click the set foreground button in the tools panel, and that would be here to make sure that this is the foreground color. We want to do that. Choose a color to lay down behind the selection. That would be, let's do a different color here. Let's just do green. Make it really stand out. And click in the background layer to add a new background color. There you go. Observe that the object's layers blend into the background. This is because of the refined radius you added to this selection. So now we have, you can see just a little bit of edges that I added in, and so it feels like it's part of that photo as opposed to just a hard selection placed on top of a color, which is what you find many times generally in Photoshop. Okay, so that's enough for this video. We are now going to focus on a vector mask layer in the next video.